Blue 17, blue 17, red 7, red 7, hot route, hot route. I don't know what that means. Just run over here. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the QB School. I'm JT O'Sullivan. Today, what is a hot route? What is a side adjust? What the heck are you talking about? We're going to talk about big picture, small picture, give some detail, give some examples, maybe talk about a handful of other questions. I'm really excited. Welcome to the QB School. Boo! First question from Anthony. Could you break down side adjusts and hot throws if they're not a predetermined route already packaged into the play call? Appreciate the series. Learn it every day. Great replay value too. Appreciate it, Anthony. So every offense is going to be different. There's no one answer to this. It's basically whatever is your offense is going to be what those hots and side adjusts are. Sometimes they're predetermined. Sometimes they're not. But just kind of an overarching macro perspective, the way that I think about it and the way that I think most offenses operate is that hot routes are to the front side of a protection. So we'll give some examples here in the video, and side adjusts are to the back side of a protection. Now, not every offense has quote unquote side adjusts to the back side. Many do, and even if they do, they don't always have it. So it depends on the pass protection too. I know that's kind of a little bit confusing and muddy and blurry a little bit, but the way that I think about it at the simplest terms is when you hear a hot route is to the front side of a protection. A side adjust is usually to the back side of a protection. What that means is the way that the line is sliding or going towards is usually the back side, and the way that the back is going to, or the front side of the protection, is going to be where the hot is going to be coming from. So oftentimes the way that the line is going to is the back side. I'm just working out here. It's to the left for some reason with my hands. So if the line was sliding to the left and the back was coming to the right, the front side has the potential for a hot route. I'll talk about how they get there. And then the backside has a potential for a side adjust. And so really the side adjust and the hots are keys and code words for wide receivers. When they hear those plays, they know, okay, in this pass pro, I have a side adjust in this formation. And so they know who to look for, usually the number 4 defender or DB type defender. If they blitz, they're going to have to run a side adjust. So it is complicated. It's hard for young wide receivers to understand exactly what that looks like, especially seeing it fast into the boundary or with guys moving around. But I think the hot route, a little bit easier, usually involves a slot receiver, tight end, running back, and they're usually built in. Not always. Some offenses are a little bit more recess-y. What I mean by that is if they feel like there's pressure or 2 guys come, that they can give the freedom for a guy just to peek on a route as opposed to breaking off and running like a hot route or a loop or whatever you want to call it. All sorts of different names for what those pop routes are for that you see people throw hot on. So we'll get into it here. Let me show you a couple examples here, a little diagram, hopefully paint a better picture. All right, so let's get started here with a little Madden diagram, exactly what a hot route is. So again, a hot route, I usually think of to the front side. So I usually identify what the front side is to what side the back is going to. So let's just pretend here that this was a 6-man slide protection. So we have 5 guys here, 5 offensive linemen. Interesting drawing. 5 offensive linemen, 1 back. So we're going to assume that the tight end is out on a route here. So 4 guys out. We're going to do a slide protection. So versus a bear, this is kind of a tough look. I consider this a bear. The 3 interior guys covered is a bear front to me. So we're going to cover the core, 5-man. Usually in a 5-man bear like this, where you cover the interior guys with a 6-man slide, a few different things you can do. Let's just, for the hypothetical here, say that they are in a full slide. So these 5 guys are all sliding to the left. So they have the gap to their left. So they cannot let anybody run through. So essentially what's going to happen here is that these 5 guys are all going to be blocked up. Okay? And even if this guy comes, you're going to hope that he gets washed up in the wash. So basically every offensive lineman is going to have the gap to their left. And then the back is going to have right off the hip of the tackle. He's got the first one that shows, which would normally be right here. Now, if for some reason, so now let's concentrate on the back. So the back has the first one off the hip of the right tackle. The tight end's out, remember? Say he's on a corner. So now let's imagine this guy comes. So he's the first one that comes. All right, the back's got him. Well, now let's pretend we get 2. So essentially it's 2 to the back. So pretend we have this guy coming and this guy coming. Well, who's the back supposed to block? Normally, pass protection rules would say to take the most dangerous guy, the inside guy, the first guy. So you're going to be free out here from a quarterback. You have 2 on a back in a 6-man slide protection, usually going to equal hot. And what that means is if this guy has a corner, well, we might have a built-in hitch right here for a little smash concept. Well, then this is probably the hot. My little designation for hot, 2 lines makes us an H. But now let's assume that we have a, go route. Okay? So normally we'd have 4 verticals here. We're going to run 4 verticals. What's the break off for a hot? You can either put it right on him. Some offenses put it right on him. Right there, he does a little peeker. What I mean by that is he's got a hot release. So if he feels 2 guys come, he needs to turn. The tight end needs to turn and run a peek route. That is built into the route. Or some other offenses have him come up 5 yards and run out. A little hot route. Called a bunch of different things. It depends on what kind of offense you're in. So 2 on the back. We're going to need a hot route. So that's to the front side. So now let's just hypothetically, now this is hypothetical, don't go crazy on me. If it doesn't work out perfect. We got a 6-man slide on again. They're going all the way out. Okay, now the other way to block it, let's just change it up here and do what normally would be 5 on 5. So we got 5 offensive linemen, and this is versus a bear front now. Got the core covered, the interior 3 guys. Now we got these big guys on the outside. Those look like pass rushers. So these 5 have those 5. These 5 have those 5. Well, now we got the back taking the most dangerous. He's probably going to go 1 to 2. Okay, now let's imagine that they bring the number 2 over here. So he walks up, say he walks up and comes. The number 1 has the back in man coverage. Okay, so he's right here. Boom, blocked. But now we get hit up over here. They bring a saw dog off both sides. Going to be really hard to do with the middle field player, but let's just hypothetical, okay? So now we have to have a built-in hot or side adjust on the backside. That's what side adjust means. It's a backside route because the back, it's a backside adjustment. Because the back is staying in, he's on the right, the side adjust is away from that. So you have to have these built-in hitches, quick slants, bubble, high school, college game, all sorts of different answers for a side adjust. And I'll give you a better example in the next one. But again, let's go transition to 7-man. Okay, so a little different protection, a little bit more hybrid protection. So let's go 7-man, slide protection. Tight end has the Sam, back has the Mike. Okay, so we're in a bear here. Again, so bear here. The adjustment to this, let's just say it is 5 on 5, or what most teams call 5-0. So those 5 have those 5. Now the tight end, okay, the tight end is going to have the Sam right there. Boom. The back is going to have the Mike. All the way back to the nickel will. Back here. So it's 1 to 2. Okay, because this is the back side, if both of them come, you got to have a side adjust plan. Back's going to take the most dangerous. We're going to need a side adjust, and that's what a side adjust is on the back side. Be able to come out here and have some sort of adjustment to whatever route you're running. So let's look at it from a different perspective, different personnel. All right, this is a little bit better to show what exactly a side adjust is and how it happens. So now we're in what looks like 20 personnel. Got 5 offensive linemen, 2 backs. Okay, we'll say 3 wide receivers. I'm sure someone knows what these guys are. If they're wide receivers or all tight ends, doesn't matter. We're paying attention to the pass pro unit right now. 5 linemen, 2 backs. Okay, they're in an odd front, meaning that there's 3 defensive linemen. Odd. We're going to say these guys are all linebackers. Linebacker, 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 linebacker. 3-4. 7 on 7. That's 7 on 7 right there. Got 5 offensive linemen, 2 backs. They got 3 defensive linemen, 4 linebackers. 7 on 7. We see that. We're good to go. Well, now, all of a sudden, they're bringing this guy over. Uh-oh. This guy's cheating down, and we're getting hit with a corner cat. Or could just as easily be 4 weak from the safety right here. Coming down here. Now, how do you block that? Let's say that they're in a Mike declaration here. So these 5 offensive linemen have these 5 interior guys. Okay, and the backs are going right outside. Here. Okay? Simple, easy protection, solid Mike protection. Well, now we get hit with the free safety coming off the edge. Who's going to block him? We got 2 answers. We can either redirect this, okay, which I'll talk about in a second, or we can side adjust. Let's say we side adjust. Comes over here, free safety comes. We get hit with a will, free safety. We're hot. This strong nickel, whatever it is threatening to blitz here. So the back cannot scan immediately. So he's caught here, hanging back. He can't come back and help right away. So what do? We have a built-in side adjust, backside. Okay, the strength of the formation is over here. We get a built-in side adjust on the backside, either a slant, a one-step slant, a fade, a hitch if he's off, any option, whatever is your built-in side adjust. I've had it change mid-game, mid-series before. You start with something and then you go from there if you throw it a few times. The other thing you can do is we get a walk up here. We think he's coming. All we do is redirect it. So originally the line is going to these two interior guys right here. These 5 are going there. Well, now let's redirect it. So the line is going to these 2. So now this back is on a dual. He's going 1 to 2. So if we get hit off this and all 3 of these guys come, we're fine. And really we're fine even if one of these 2 guys comes. It can be him or it can be him. That's what a redirect does. And you do a redirect and you say, okay, out here, you usually give a thumbs up. You give a thumbs up out there to the side adjust guy. He knows that you're okay. He's good to go. He can stay on his route. That's how most offenses work. So the difference would be hot or side adjust. Now let's just give a hypothetical hot here. Let's give just, they're running just simple Y stick. 5-yard out. We're in the flat. We got a must outside release go out here. Okay, so how would we be hot? Well, let's say that they're in the same protection. So they're in a 5-man solid protection with the offensive lineman right here. They're going to these 5. Okay. Because they're going to that 5, now this guy, the back is right there. We'll say we get hit with this. Let's say we get hit with this, or we get this nickel guy comes from the front side, or we'll say from the Sam, whatever it is, however you want to identify him. Nobody's blocking him. So now we have to throw hot. What do? Well, we have this built-in stick. If there's this guy so far off that he can't come down and make a play, we also have the flat that we can built in and throw hot. So we're hot here, and some plays have 2 hots, just like that. So we get hit where we know we're going to be hot. All of a sudden, we got to know where it's built in. Now, the most difficult thing, in my opinion, is when you have 5-man protection. So you got 5 guys are running out. So let's just assume both these backs are running out. They have no pass pro. They are just running flats. Okay, and so we'll say these guys are 10-yard hooks. So 10-yard hooks, flats, gone protection, just 5-man. Doesn't matter what you call it, called any different thing. So now we got 5 offensive linemen, and we got these 7 guys are all threats. Who knows who's going to come? Well, if they bring 2 to a side, no matter how you block it, you're almost always going to get hit unless you got a 4-man slide on. So you can either block this where it's called a dual read, where he's going 1 to 2 and popping out, or you can fan it, where 2 guys, basically these 2 have these 3. If you get hit with 3, you're in trouble. Same thing over here. You're basically going to leave the nose head up on the center, and you're going to have these 2 blocking these 3 right here. That's as good as you can hope. So if you get hit with 3, unless you have a 4-man slide coming over, and even if you have a 4-man slide, then you're putting this tackle in all sorts of hurt. So I'm losing myself here going into the weeds a little bit with all this pass pro. But the essence of it is, let me bring it back to the essence of it. The essence of this pass pro with hots and side adjusts is the hot is to the front side. Sometimes there was a hot route built in. Other times that the wide receiver who is hot has to know it and peek, or kind of look on their route on their initial stem of the hot situation, depending on who comes. And basically, oftentimes you can just feel people void an area, and you know instinctively as a wide receiver to just get your head around and look. And if the quarterback sees it, can put it on you really quickly. Side adjust, a little bit different, usually the backside of a route, and usually designated a route. So if we get hit with 4 weak, we're going to run slant. If we get hit with corner blitz, we're going to run a little skippy off the line of scrimmage, or a smoke route, or a one-step hitch, or we're going to run a quick fade, or whatever. And so those side adjusts are usually the backside. Not every team does side adjust, and then the hot is usually to the front side. And most teams have hot routes, and it usually varies on what the concept is, whether it's built in or whether the wide receiver has to peek or change their route. So hopefully that makes sense. Next question, Lucky No 888. Yo, JT, love the show. Question: What's up with the DAC dance? Does it help? Any other weird QB exercises, routine stretches out there? Yo, I don't know what's up with the DAC dance. I know that there's a lot of quarterbacks in Dallas. Kitna, Kellen, and Garrett. And so there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen down there as far as what's going on in the quarterback room with the quarterback mechanics. I have no idea what that DAC dance is. I'm going to guess it has something to do with hips and torque and legs, but honestly, I have no idea. You know, I think Dak is a unique player in many regards. He deserves to get paid. He's going to get paid. There's no doubt about it. I think, you know, there are many people have concerns, you know, for different reasons about why he has or hasn't played at the level of expectations all the time. I think he's having a great year. I think that they're excited to watch. They've got some good weapons, and as they continue to get better, they're going to be fun to watch down the stretch, in my opinion. As far as like what that thing is, like, I don't know what it is. I thought the dance Zeke did the other day after he scored was even better than the original kind of shock of whatever he was doing before the game. But I'm going to guess it has something to do with something he's working on, and that's the beautiful thing about quarterbacking. You find something that you need to work on, that your coaches have identified, you believe in it, you buy in, all of a sudden you're leading the league in passing. You've got having a great year, and you're going to get paid a lot of money to spin a ball. But as far as like what it is, or have I ever seen it, I never seen anything like it. As far as things that like I did that I thought were weird or strange, you know, I changed my throwing motion many times. I went from super quick to longer to try to get more on it, to kind of a middle thing in between, trying to make the best out of both worlds. And so I used to do this thing. I don't know how it started. I really don't. But I used to stand in front of a mirror with like a small weight as I would try to change my throwing motion from here down here, to like fast up, to trying to find a balance with my elbows and torque and whatever all that stuff was. And so I just remember being in front of a mirror with like a small 5-pound weight for some reason. Not sure why I had a weight, but I did it a lot to try to change my throwing motion. And I think it did help just to be able to see it. I don't know why I needed the weight to be able to do it, but nothing quite like that, especially on a field like that. Like, good for you, bro. Go out there, get it, keep it going, and I'm excited to see how Dak finishes the year. Next question, Kevin Wynn. Hi, JT. Love the videos. I really like how you break things down from a macro perspective and make it really easy to understand. It might be a bit outdated, but I'd love for you to do a video breakdown of Tim Tebow's 2011 season with Denver. I'm personally am a fan of his, and we all know that he had some obvious weaknesses, throwing motion, footwork, yet he still had success and won a playoff game. Do you think his success was due to some strengths that people don't talk about much? If so, what do you think these were? Or was his success more attributable to the rest of the offense, defense, play calling, or other things? I'd love for you to do a video on this. Keep up the great content. Thanks, Kevin. So Tebow is a pretty special circumstance, in my opinion. First of all, one of the best college football players ever. Like, he was a specimen. He was even a specimen when I played against him a handful of times in the preseason. He's just a jacked dude. Like, he's a big cat. And I could see why people would think that he could play other positions. He looked like he lived in the weight room, like he was built to play whatever he wanted. As far as like what happened that season, I really don't know. I have friends that were on the staff there, played there. You know, he is a great athlete. I mean, someone that can go and play professional baseball right out of the gate is pretty amazing athlete. I think the reality of it for him, and what I remember about that playoff game, was just that big slant to win it, I think. But I remember them trying to figure out, like, I remember talking to Adam Gaesby and like they were talking to Urban Meyer about what could they do, was he comfortable with on a weekly basis, like how could they find plays that he was comfortable with. So I just think the game, as far as what it was then, just didn't give him a chance to be successful enough. And what I mean by that is he just wasn't good enough to spin it consistently from the pocket. That's just the reality of it. And he wasn't fast enough to be able to change the game, kind of like Lamar Jackson, and feels like he's changing the game right now. So it's like that combination of, you have to be able to throw it. Like Lamar Jackson has made huge strides this year, in my opinion, throwing it, especially throwing it down the field. And they built an offense around him. I don't know if Denver was ever really willing to build an offense around Tebow, nor do I think he had kind of that like video game quality where he could do stuff that no one else could do, like Lamar Jackson's doing right now. So it's that blend of, he doesn't throw it well enough. Like, he just doesn't. It took too long. came out sideways, wasn't accurate enough, in my opinion, consistently enough. And so combined with the fact that he's a huge specimen, but he wasn't like elite fast speed. He was strong as an ox and a beast, size-wise. But as far as being a fast on an NFL field, not really. And so it just didn't combine to me to be something that was going to be able to change the game like we feel like we're seeing right now with Lamar Jackson in that type of mold. But again, did they ever build around him? I don't know if that's a fair thing to say that they did. I think it'd be interesting if they would have. I think he had some qualities and some things that really resonated in a college environment that I'm not sure resonated in an NFL locker room, if that makes sense. I think that there are just different environments. And so, he had magical moments at Florida, and he sure had a magical moment in that playoff game in Denver, but for whatever reason, it didn't resonate enough for them to be like, all right, we're all in. Well, let's go. Lamar Jackson, let's go. That path. And so I don't have the answer for it. I know that when I saw him play, I saw him truck some cats, some big dudes. He was just as big and strong as anybody out there. And then I would see him throw it, and you'd see him make some misses, and you're just like, I don't know. That's not good enough to be able to do it consistently. And that was just my take. Who knows, right, wrong, or indifferent. I only saw him a handful of times, but win a playoff game, hey, man, good for you. All right, that's the Q&A today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Red 7, hot route. Good stuff. Love that movie. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. See you next time. Boo.